How did the U.S. contribute to the planning of the rescue?
So we had, let me restart. So the U.S. contributed. We had Major Hodges, our Special Tactics Officer, and Master Sergeant Anderson, our team leader, who have gone through enough training with mission planning. So they were liaising between the Thai government and the UK divers, coming up with a well-organized plan. The Thai government also had their plan, and when they compared plans, they figured out what was best and what was best for the operation. I didn't do too much of the plan. I was more on the operational side, where I was going to execute the plan that my leadership was telling me to perform.
You got to see children come out of the water. What was that?
So I got to see the children come outside the cave of the. Let me restart. So I didn't see the children come out of the water. That was Sergeant O'Brien's. He was in Chamber 3. So I got to see the children come from chamber, inside Chamber 2, passing.
Coming in or?
So I didn't see him come out of the water. I saw the children come from the Highline system down to my Highline system. But I can talk about the radio.
How'd that make you feel? You know, like that moment, that relief. What was it?
So we were in the cave about 2 hours prior, but before the first child showed up. We were just sitting there. We turned off all our lights to conserve battery, so it was pitch black in the cave, and we were just all sitting there waiting for the first child to come. At this time, we didn't know what the status of the kid was going to be, if they're going to be alive or not. When we got a radio over the walkie-talkie, hey, first kid is out of Chamber 3, then we all turned on our lights. We got staged, we got ready, everyone went inside their place. And they said that he was alive on the walkie-talkie, which was a huge relief for everybody because no one knew what the outcome was going to be. It was a pretty dangerous dive. So we were all very relieved knowing that he was alive. And I'll never forget it was surreal. It was you wouldn't guess that there was 40 people behind me in the cave because everyone was so quiet and everyone was so attentive, waiting for this child, and everyone was so focused on the execution. So from across from me, it's about 100 feet, I could see little lights, and I see this Skedco getting on the Highline system across the way before they got hooked up to mine, just slowly inching forward, and super quiet in there. Everyone's just kind of whispering, no one's yelling, everyone's very calm, relaxed, trying to be professional. And when they hooked them up to my section, we had 2 safety lines that Sergeant Hopper and his team, they were controlling his descent, and then my team was controlling the rate that he was coming to us, because there's some sections where he was going quick and then he would sag, and then we had to pull him across. Not to mention that there was rocks in the way that we had a guy staged to actually help lift the Skedco up, because we didn't want the child to hit their head on the rock. So we had 2 guys staged over there to help assist the child through some sketchy areas. Once he got to me, it was surreal because I knew, hey, this is who we've been waiting for 2 weeks now, and now they are like, here he is, and his life is like in my hands now, and the rest of our team's hands, and like, gotta make sure there's no room for error for a real world mission. So once he got to me, we had to weigh the system down because the Highline was so tensioned that 4 of us had to actually push down on the system to relieve the pressure off the carabiner to disconnect him. Once we disconnected the child, Hopper and his team took back the gear to reset for the next child. And then I went there with my paramedic background, and I just real quick assessment, made sure his mask seal was tight, make sure he was still breathing. I checked his respiratory rate, checked his pulse. I made sure that the O2 was still properly seated and fitted, made sure that he had still pressure in the tank to make sure that he was had enough air to make it outside the cave. If not, then we had a bottle ready to get replace if that bottle was used and didn't have enough oxygen inside. From there, everyone was very delicate with the kid. It was super controlled movements. You know, I was like, all right, hey, he's good. Lift him up, and 4 guys, 1 on each side, helped grab him, and we just slowly walked because it was very slippery. So we actually made this handrail, this rope system, because there's a slight angle, and everyone kind of kept getting dragged in there. So it's really slippery. There's some rocks, and there's a handrail that the guys on the left side could actually hold on to help balance themselves so they're not slipping all over the place. Once that 30 feet walk across the slippery slope, that's where the Thai team, the Thai SEALs were, and that's where we handed him during that very slippery, narrow path where it would be the risk wasn't worth it to try to fit just 4 guys alone to go down there. So there was about 20 Thai SEALs there just grabbing him and just passing off one after the other, and just nice and slowly down until we got on flat ground where there was the medical team, the Thai medical team there to assess as well. Knowing that we were able to perform our duties properly and to successfully get the children out and their coach, we're very, very happy that all our training paid off, and that the whole pipeline, the PJ training that we went through was all worth it for this moment, a very defining moment in my career, as far as when I can look back when I retire from the Air Force and say, man, I was really happy to be a part of this, and that was really, it means a lot to me. It was really a special moment for me and my life, and realize how seriously how important training is, and how seriously you have to take it, because in a moment's notice, you have to get on the plane 8 hours later to Thailand to go do a cave rescue, which something that you'd never really trained for, but all your previous training has played a part for you to actually operate and execute the mission.
At any point, did you find yourself in fear? If so, why?
So there was not a point where I found myself in fear. There was a situation where a retired Thai Navy SEAL, Suman Kunan, I heard the next morning that he passed away, and I actually, it was very unfortunate because the day before he was helping me for the UK divers to shuttle the food. Very, very helpful guy, smiling. I shook his hand like, hey, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a safe time. Well, I'll see you tomorrow in Chamber 3. And it was really unfortunate to wake up the next morning realizing like that was the guy who passed away, who you just shook hands with. So it made it really that much more real that, hey, this is a really dangerous operation, and we have to make sure that we don't take any unnecessary risk to make sure that we all come back alive.
How was that experience like? You're in a cave knowing that somebody passed away and somebody that you were just with. What was that like?
Knowing that someone just passed away that I just met the day prior, very great guy, great working with, it just made it that much more real, that knowing, hey, this is actually an operation that we need to make sure that we perform to the best of our ability, and make sure everything is safe before we put any children on the highline system that we were operating.
Now, one of your the big saying, right, for the rescuemen is that others may live. Did that message resonate in your mind while you were going through this, especially thinking about one of these kids might come on that stretcher and he might not be alive anymore due to complications? How did that mantra kind of play in your mind and help you?
So that others may live is the motto that we live by, and it's something that you accepted a long time ago in Indoc, like, hey, this is the career field that I want to choose, and I'm willing to put myself in harm's way in order to make sure that someone else is brought back safely. So knowing that we were able to get the children out there safely and putting ourselves at risk, it's just something that we mentally all train for.
Now, if I knew you better and knew the story better, what question should I have asked you, and what would you like to answer?
Uh, what really made a difference that helped support the operation?
So, what really made a difference to help support the operation?
Um, so only focusing on the operation, um, not having to focus on where we were staying, uh, what we were going to eat, um, transportation. Also, our clothes. We only had a couple pair of uniforms. There was a couple local Thai people that were willing to do our laundry every night, which was huge for us. Our clothes were filthy in mud, wet, nasty, muggy. It rained on, and that really did play a huge part for us as far as having a clean uniform to work in. Because you got to understand, every morning when we woke up, we got home at about 9, 10 o'clock at night. We'd wake up about 5:30 in the morning. The last thing you want to do is put on your wet, crusty, muddy uniform with wet boots, wet socks. Um, you couldn't help it. Your feet were wet constantly. So I really appreciated, for me, is the people who were helping provide us clean clothes every day.